It's one of my favorite nights of the year. It's election night in Oklahoma. I get to hang out with all my colleagues from the Oklahoman's newsroom, Paige Dillard in the studio, and voters from across the state who have gone to the polls throughout the day, speaking with us and speaking to the nation with those who they voted for. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll have live updates throughout tonight, 7, 8, 9, and 10, or as late as we need to go as the results roll in. My colleagues, as I mentioned from the Oklahoman's newsroom, were out talking to you, the voters, earlier today. You gave them some answers about what you were looking at from the ballot and what you were hoping from the results of today. Let's take a listen.
I voted for Kevin Stitt. I thought Edmondson kind of ran a lot of attack ads, and I didn't like his stance on education. I thought he would funnel a lot more money there by raising taxes, and I think Stitt will do it a lot more economical in a way that won't affect me as much.
Education was definitely the most important for me. We voted for Drew Edmondson today.
And why is that?
He really was supporting the teachers and really excited, hope he gets elected.
This election means so much because so much is on the ballot. Education, tax reform, health care, immigration, making changes that way. So it's an election that's going to determine a whole lot.
There's been a lot of noise about the midterms this year, and I don't think really that we're deciding too much here in Oklahoma that is of great importance, other than our representatives, of course, which is enormously important.
A straight party line Democrat for the first time in my life.
First time in your life. Tell me about that. Why?
I'm a registered Republican, but the Kavanaugh hearings really did me in.
I think I was just excited to exercise my right to vote and to bring her and to show my girls that it's important to get out there and kind of participate in the system. There wasn't a specific issue, but I'm excited about the changes that might happen, especially with the education system.
And we appreciate all the voters out there who spoke with us today. You can find more of those reaction videos online at newsok.com. Now, among those hitting the polls today and casting her vote was Governor Mary Fallin.
Well, it is a different day to both my last time as governor. It was a different night last night as I was thinking about how all the various candidates are probably a little bit nervous sitting on pins and needles, and this is the first time in 28 years I wasn't sitting on pins and needles. I'm thinking about what's going to happen tonight at the election. But tonight we're bringing a lot of excitement. There's a lot of excitement in the air of people just wanting to be able to vote, to express their opinions. They're talking about the future of the state of Oklahoma, and I think we'll see the excitement come to fruition tonight. And after we know whoever the winner is, I'll be prepared, and we are prepared to help that person be very successful in the transition of power.
And my colleague Robert Medley caught up with Governor Fallin earlier today. You can watch more of the interview online at newsok.com. Throughout tonight, I'll be joined by various colleagues, including Dale Denault and Justin Wingeter, perhaps among others. Right now, we're joined by Chris Casteel and Ben Felder. And gentlemen, thanks very much for stopping in. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet.
Before I get to Chris, Ben, you have quite the evening mapped out ahead of you. Tell us what you may be up to.
Well, I'm going to be tracking the governor's race, and so I'll be kind of splitting my time tonight between two watch parties for Drew Edmondson and Kevin Stitt. Fortunately, they planned them pretty close together, so I'm not sure if that was intentional or not. But we're going to be watching the results on this big race. This is a big election. I mean, as big as 2016 was for the nation, this is as big as it is for Oklahoma. We're choosing the new governor, a variety of statewide seats. The results of tonight's race in a lot of areas, but particularly in governor, is really going to set the course for at least the next 4 years. And so going to be watching to see who becomes the next governor of the state of Oklahoma.
And Chris, no one has covered this race from the very beginning, the race for governor, than you. And finally we're here. Election day to decide who succeeds. Mary Fallin.
And I think it's going to be close, and I always thought it might be close. I'm not surprised at all that we're here tonight, kind of wondering who's going to win. I mean, when you have the problems that this government has had for quite a while, and a governor who's been in for a long time, but one that people are kind of tired of, then I think that obviously people want change, and this is a change election. Ben just said it quite well. This is going to reshape politics, and that's what people want. Either one of them would be a change, although I think that Edmondson, his campaign, and the Democratic Governors Association have probably been fairly effective and portraying Stitt as more of the same. You know, I'm not sure everybody buys it, but I think it's been an effective line. It was the one they had to take. Yoke Kevin Stitt, the quote outsider, to, you know, Mary Fallin, and you know, Drew looks like the agent of change. But no matter which one they pick, it will be a change from Mary Fallin. And you know, I was watching some of the videos from January and February. They're really not saying anything different today than they were in those videos from, you know, Chickasha and Muskogee that I watched this morning before I came in.
Let me throw this out to you guys for conversation. Where were we at heading into tonight poll-wise? And then perhaps, what are you guys watching for throughout tonight? From the early voting returns, does that indicate when we may see throughout the night, or is it the metro area when those voters come in? What are some things for those watching at home to pay attention to?
Yeah, well, there's been a variety of polls. Oklahoma doesn't get polled as heavily as maybe some other states, but they've shown a competitive race, and it's been anywhere from, you know, I've seen anything from, you know, Stitt leading by 10 or leading by 5. You know, Edmondson's campaign has said that they've seen polls that show them tied. You know, no matter what the numbers say, this is clearly a competitive and close race. And I think when it comes to, you know, voters and demographics and parts of the battleground, the map that we'll be watching closely, you know, I'm really fascinated with the Oklahoma City suburbs, the Tulsa suburbs as well. But you know, these kind of likely Republican areas, particularly in Edmond. I spent some time up there this morning, and I've been reporting on some of the voters up there the last couple of weeks. You have a lot of voters, particularly female voters, who are registered Republican, and they're not ready to just fully throw their support behind all Democrats, but education is the #1 issue. And both Stitt and Edmondson have talked a lot about education. And Stitt has said he wants to pump more money into the school systems, but Edmondson said he wants to do it through tax increases. And if you remember back in April, a 2-week teacher walkout kind of centered on the idea of raising taxes to fund education. The legislature didn't budge. And so I'm really fascinated to see what kind of support does Edmondson get in those suburban areas. I'm not saying he needs to clean sweep the suburbs in order to win, but if a typically red district in Edmond is just a light shade of red, that may bode pretty well for Edmondson tonight.
Yeah, Ben did a really great story a couple of weeks ago on this. He went up to Edmond. The Republican pollster Pat McFerrin, I talked to a few weeks ago, and he said the biggest block of undecided voters, Republican women. And Ben went up to, you know, to Edmond in the, you know, Deer Creek area, I think, wasn't it? And you know, where really they're quite obviously very education focused up there. That's why some of those areas are as big as they are, because of schools. And talk to women voters who, you know, who were traditionally Republican. There was one I think he talked to whose entire ballot was filled out, you know, with Republican votes, except for at the very top. And I think that is going to be, you know, a big harbinger of what happens tonight, is how they vote in those suburbs. And I think it's going to be close. I just think it's going to be nip and tuck. We're thinking it's going to go to our deadline.
One of the things we're watching tonight as the results start to come in is the Oklahoma Election Board. They're rolling out some new tricks tonight. We're seeing a bit of early returns, but there are 1,951 precincts to go, gentlemen. So they'll be here with us all night. Ben Felder and Chris Casteel. Thanks so much for stopping in for this early edition. Paige, thanks for producing back in the booth. We'll be back at 8 o'clock with yet another update. Election night in Oklahoma continues on newsok.com.